Get out the insurance cards, get out the copays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by drroto.com.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Rise and Grind with Johnny Danger and my man Trevor. Sorry if the video is a little funky. The StreamYard totally updated, and I don't know what just happened, Trevor, but I think it worked. But we're here, we're live, and we're ready to go on a Tuesday morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern time.
Yeah, it's pretty early over here. It's 8:30, but the kids are off to school, so got that done with. It's cold here. We've had a little bit of snow in the last couple of days, but it's going to be 60, so it's going to warm up, so I'm not worried.
It's currently 21 degrees here, so I'm with you on that. So
yeah.
But it's a chilly one, and it was a chilly week for me in seasonal football. Trev, I am in 12 leagues, and I lost 10 of them last week. And a crucial, week 10, I'm right on the bubble in every single league. I had a lot of guys on bye, had a lot of guys injured. I don't lost Garrett Wilson now. There's problems out there, Trev. There's problems.
Yeah, I think I didn't even go through it all yet. I probably will soon, but I know in one league I had Taylor and Gibbs, and I really needed to win last week, so I won that one for sure. I have Gibbs, Taylor, and Dart. I traded Worthy for Dart last week, or 2 weeks ago. So that's worked out. Hopefully Dart can play this week. But yeah, it hasn't been a really good seasonal league for me because my pre-draft rankings, I had Thomas too high. I had Chase Brown too high, and I didn't trust Sam Darnold and Jackson Smith-Njigba, which was, looking back, was pretty dumb. But
yeah. I traded JSN to move up in the draft and to get Hampton and Ayuk, and that has not worked well for me this year.
Yeah, you just in the Dynasty League, you still got hope that works out over time. But as of now, that's a bad trade. But
I wasn't going to win this year anyways, but I was with you, man. I didn't know if JSN was going to be able to do it on his own without DK taking some coverage away. I didn't know how Sam Darnold would be. We were wrong. JSN might be the best wide receiver in the league this year.
Yeah, he is. And I don't understand, they don't have a whole lot outside of him. They just got Shaheed, but they had Horton. I would be double covering him and take my chances elsewhere. I'd be doing everything I can to take him out of the game. Well, he did. That touchdown he got last week wasn't double coverage, I think. If I remember right.
I think he's been double coverage proof this year. I think everybody has been trying to do that.
Well, maybe.
It was wild. Well, let's talk about Thursday, a certainly uninspired game of football between the Raiders and the Broncos. The Broncos do move to 8-2, and they keep escaping these terrible performances with wins. Do you like the Broncos' chance in the playoffs here? I mean, it seems like their close calls have been going their way.
Yeah, well, it was hard to evaluate. The win was bad. There was a lot of drop balls. And one thing I don't like about the Broncos is, they like to throw the ball deep down the field, and Nix just isn't that accurate going downfield. His ball just sails. He's got guys open, and he puts it over their heads. But their defense is going to keep them involved. There's not really a team that I see that's a real breakout team. We've seen flaws with Kansas City. We've seen Buffalo looks like a fraud sometimes, and then they look like world beaters. So, yeah, Denver could make it through because, I don't trust the other teams, but I would give the edge to Kansas City, even though they lost to Buffalo. They just seem to do magical things come playoffs, and maybe they might get a yellow flag their way.
Well, it seems like Denver needs to protect Dobbins, which they have. They've gotten RJ Harvey a little bit more involved. They're doing some more short passes to, keep them a little healthy. And they're very content just playing defense and grinding out, 2-3 yards and punting, which has been working for them. Troy Franklin got involved again, 5 catches and a touchdown. I was high on him preseason. He did pretty well first couple weeks and then totally disappeared. And now he's been back for a couple weeks. What do you think of Troy Franklin? He's he's still on the waiver wires in a few places, but
not in any league I'm in because if he was on any waiver wires, I have him. So yeah, I like Franklin because he's been a good compliment. We got to look at Dobbins. Dobbins might be hurt for a little bit here. He got hurt by a hip drop tackle, and he was complaining about it. So he might be questionable this week. So Harvey might get all the action, and I'd be pretty excited for that because I have him in a few leagues, and I need to fire him up.
Yeah, I like Harvey a lot, and I think that the way that he's played the last few weeks allows them to protect Dobbins and leave him out for a playoff run, and that's good. Other than that, man, I mean, it's really they're covering Cortland Sutton and just daring them to throw it to Pat Bryant and to Troy Franklin and to Mims. It's pretty inspiring, but they're 8-2, Trev. They're 8-2.
Yeah, Sutton's getting double covered a lot, so yeah, we'll see how they go. I think their schedule is getting a little bit tougher.
Yeah, there's nobody really of interest here. If Franklin's out there, go get him. He's in most of the deeper leagues. Harvey should have been picked up weeks ago, but if he's out there, put a bid on him. You never know. I do play in a couple leagues, Trevor, where we have 5-person benches in one IR, and they do that so that you can churn and turn waiver wires, and it adds some kind of layer to interesting.
Well, and I would expect Franklin to get a lot of targets this week against Kansas City because you can't run very good against them, and they're going to try to take Sutton away. So I would think the secondary receivers would be the guys you go for there.
Let's talk about the other side here. Geno Smith stinks. He just sucks.
He stinks. He did have some drop balls. That win was really bad. Genty looked pretty good. I was surprised. Well, he looked good for the first drive, and then they kind of took him away after that. There's just not much there. If Bowers isn't having a good game, I mean, they don't really have a whole lot left. They traded Jacoby away, so, they don't. There's really nothing to like there. So,
and normally, you could say, hey, they're a losing team. Let's see what they got. But their backup's Kenny Pickett, and that's not any better than Geno. So, were you surprised in Tyler Lockett's production? I mean, he didn't get a ton of yards, but he was involved. I thought it'd be Tucker getting more play, but it turned out to be Lockett.
It was Lockett. I think they missed Tucker was open on a few, and he either dropped it or he missed. But I was surprised Lockett caught more than one ball. That's just my way it's going to be. If he catches more than one ball at any game, I'm going to be surprised.
So you're saying you're not interested in waiver wire Tyler Lockett?
No, not at all.
All right, fair enough. All right, let's get out of that game. Let's go to a more fun game. Let's go to an absolute historic performance by Jonathan Taylor in the early game. I talked about it a little bit on, was it Saturday night we were talking about, or Sunday during the Doc show, about how much I wanted to play the early slate because I wanted to play Jonathan Taylor and I wanted to play these guys. And Jonathan Taylor didn't disappoint. I mean, what an absolute dominant performance. Falcons defense had been okay recently, but they could not stop Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, I did. You always think he can have a good game. I thought he was going to be even more limited. I thought he'd maybe get 100 yards and a touchdown. I didn't think he would go for 250 total yards and 3 touchdowns. And I figured on that final drive they weren't going to kick the field goal. I thought they're just going to push him into the end zone, and that's exactly what they did to win the game because they could have stopped at the 11 and tried a field goal, but. The heck with it. Let's get the star another touchdown. So yeah, the Colts are pretty good. They're on a bye this week, so the addition of Sauce, you could see at the beginning, Sauce Gardner there took him a little bit of time. Then he started making some good plays in the secondary there as the time went on in that game. So he's going to be a good addition. Once they get DeForest Buckner back on their line, they'll be even better. So they're a team to watch out for. So.
No, I mean, I like the Colts a lot. Tyler Warren has been awesome. Another rookie tight end, just kind of getting out there. This is tight end year, and I think we talked about it last week, Trevor. It just seems like teams have figured out that athletic tight ends getting paired up against undersized linebackers is a good combination. Yeah,
and he made that big catch in overtime. Was it overtime or to tie the game on the final drive to tie the game in regulation? He made a big catch on 4th down, and it was a heck of a catch. It was only like a 4 or 5 yard pass, but a lot of tight ends won't make that catch, and then if he doesn't make that catch, they lose. I'd hate to be a guy that had a bet on the Atlanta Falcons in that game.
Right. Hey, Trevor, let me ask you a question. When you're playing DFS, how frustrated are you when your guy has 99 yards?
yeah, that sucks. You get that for people that don't play DFS. When you get that 100 yards, you get a few bonus points for that 100-yard bonus. So if you don't play DFS, that's what he's talking about.
Right?
Yeah, that is frustrating. You're happy your guy did get 99 yards, but you're looking to get that. I think that happened to me with Brian Thomas. Well, he didn't get 99; he got like 94 yards. He had 94 yards midway through the 3rd quarter. And then he drops a 17-yard pass right in his hands. I mean, that's 2 points. That's like a 5-point play. And when you're talking the type of tournaments we were playing, that could be $1,000 right there.
Yeah, it's two extra points for 100 yards, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Well, Tyler Warren has been awesome. I love him. I honestly think he's the most consistent tight end in football. I know McBride and Bowers can have big, giant games, but Warren seems to be the guy that's just plugging along a solid game every single week. And Alec Pierce has been fantastic lately as they've kind of moved coverage over to Pittman to stop what Pittman was doing. Pierce has just kind of picked it right up.
Yeah, Pierce has been the guy that people wanted Downs to be. I mean, but Pierce seems to be that guy. So yeah, they got a lot of weapons there. You just have to hope, if you're a Colts fan, that Daniel Jones doesn't make that big mistake in the playoffs, because he can get a little bit wonky sometimes. But if they get
injured and see Anthony Richardson come back out,
well, yeah, that too.
That would be awful. I'm sorry, I just put that into the universe. I apologize, Colts fans.
What are you trying to do out there?
Speaking of Daniel Jones, I mean, he only threw one touchdown because he didn't have to, because Taylor ran all over the place. But Daniel Jones got 50 yards rushing, so he had 300 all-purpose yards and a touchdown. So you can play Daniel Jones and Jonathan Taylor together.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was 3rd and 21 there, and he ran for like 17 of it to get it to that 4th down play before Warren caught that pass. So, I mean, Jones has always been able to run the ball. I mean, he's got a lot of weapons there. He should be good. I just wish the Vikings would have kept him. Right.
There you go. Well, let's talk about the Falcons side. I thought it was going to be a big Kyle Pitts day. I thought that adding Sauce might, free up the middle for Pitts to move around a little bit. And it didn't really. He got 2 catches, 5 targets. He just has brick for hands, man. He dropped at least 1 touchdown, maybe 2.
Well, yeah, he was 2 plays away from being the guy, the one on, I think it was the first drive or second drive. I can't remember. I watched so many games now. It was probably been a 60-yard touchdown, and it hit him right. There was nobody around him. He was going to get it down to the 5, but he probably could have scored. And then the second one, he had 2 steps on the defender, and Penix underthrow it. I mean, he throws it right. That's a touchdown. It was provided Pitts catches the ball. Right. So, I mean, he's still a big mismatch. You can see the mismatches on the field because, teams just can't cover him right now. And with Drake London playing as well as he has, and Mooney's going on deep balls, it's keep giving Pitts some open field. So he's going to have I think he's got a pretty good matchup again this week if I was looking at it right.
Yeah. Hey, Trevor, what's that, I think it's a parody football movie where the wide receiver is super fast and beats everybody, but he can't catch the ball, and they just slather his hands in glue. And I can't remember the name of that movie. But
I can't remember the name of that movie. I usually don't watch football movies because they suck.
Well, this one's I'm pretty sure it's a parody movie. Anyways, Drake London looked great. Another 100-yard game, another touchdown. When healthy, man, that guy just rips.
Yeah, he's really good. The only thing that's really holding Atlanta back at times is Penix, because he's not accurate a lot of times. I mean, he's missing some throws. They could be a lot better. So hopefully he develops over time and they get another weapon in there. But what really stinks, though, if you have a Bijan Robinson owner, I mean, it just got to be painful that Algiers getting these rushing touchdowns on you.
Honestly, these guys are Gibbs and Monty. They really are. And Algiers the guy they trust in short yardage. Algiers the guy they want on the goal line. I mean, he led the league in overall yardage before Bijan got there, Trev. So they've liked this guy a long time.
Well, that's why it was weird that they, when they drafted Bijan, whether they drafted him in the 5th overall or 7th, I don't know I can't remember what he was. He was a high pick, but Algier had 1,000 yards as a rookie the year before, and he wasn't even used a whole lot until midway through the season. And so Algier's always been a good back. So they got a really good 1-2 combo. The only bad thing is Algier's contract's gonna be coming up soon, and he'll be going bye-bye because there's no way they're going to be able to afford him. He'll get a starting job somewhere. But in the meantime, you plow with those guys. That's what you got to do.
Yeah, Atlanta is easy to figure out at least. It's Robinson, it's Algier in some games, and then it's London and Pitts. There is nothing else of interest there.
No, Mooney's Mooney's still out there, but it looks like he's lost a step.
Yeah, they're not. I don't know if they're just not scheming him right, but yeah, he's not great. He did have most of his good games with Cousins, so that also might be something to do with it. But
yeah.
Anyways, let's move on to the Baltimore and Minnesota game. I honestly, in one of my pick'em pools, Trevor, I picked Minnesota. I thought they were going to come off a high off that Detroit game. I didn't. I mean, it wasn't a likely pick. I just did it to be different because I knew everybody else was going to pick Baltimore. But they fought for a minute. I mean, they looked all right for a minute.
Well, they're a terribly coached team. I don't get the coach. I can't stand the Vikings coach. A lot of Viking fans don't like that. I don't like them, but there's not much for me to like. You got 3rd and 1, you're not helping the young quarterback. You watch. We'll get to New England in a little bit, but if you look at the Vikings screen, when he goes back to pass, you don't see any receivers on the TV. Everybody's running deep routes. Now, I'll be at the game this Sunday, so I watch to see what the routes they run. And Vikings, he always runs receivers 20-yard routes. He's got all 3 of them running 20-yard routes. Nobody crossing the middle. You got to help this kid get easier for completions. What do I know? KLC is supposed to be the quarterback guru. But I just know.
Remember the game I went to see, they were doing the same thing. I mean, they won against the Lions. They figured it out. But McCarthy's not a 25-yard, bullet thrower. It's confusing to me.
Well, you want to have guys that are through the, you want guys at the medium, short range, long range. You want to be able to use the whole field. There's times when you're watching KOC and they show from the quarterback range, there's nobody going through the quarterback's vision through the middle of the field. So that kind of stinks. And then, another thing I don't like about that, how ill prepared as a team, they had 8 false start penalties. 8 false starts. That when you're a fan, as diehard as I am, that pisses you off when you're trying to come back in a game. It's 2nd and 7. And then you have a false start and it's 2nd and 12, and then they try some dumb play that is 3rd and 12. Then McCarthy's blitzed. So McCarthy doesn't look that great, to be honest, but they're not giving him enough. I don't think they're doing enough for him either. They're making it harder.
He had a 47% completion rate, Trev. That's real bad. I mean, he threw 12 to Jefferson. He threw 11 to Addison. And of those 23, only 7 were caught. I didn't watch the game. I'm just looking at the stats here. Maybe you can. Are they bad passes? Are they bad schemes? Are they throwing into double coverage?
A couple of them were really bad. And then on the one interception, there was a 3rd and 1 play. And they tried to hit him on a bomb. It was a one-on-one situation. And Justin Jefferson fell down while the ball was up in the sky. And all of a sudden you looked and it was like Jefferson's on the ground. Like, that can't be good. So, and then what happened was the Vikings offense just couldn't move the football enough, and they quit running the football. They were running the ball with some success early with Aaron Jones. Then you didn't see him for a while. Then they, when the game's on the line, you got Jordan Mason out there, and he can't block on blitzes like Jones does. They showed it earlier in the game where they blitzed and Jones stuck the guy, and McCarthy made a laser pass. Next time the situation, they had Mason back there. Mason missed the block, and I don't get it. I don't get the Vikings. 3rd and 1, they're throwing bombs. Let's move on because it's making me mad already.
Well, we got to say one more thing. We're going to have interest in Jalen Naylor because he had a big game, and I don't know if he's. I mean, if I'm desperate, I might have a depth ad for him. But I mean, I watched him play. He's a Michigan State guy. He's got talent. I like him, but there's just no room for him on that field in normal games. So
yeah, you're starting them. You're just hoping and praying. I mean, these are 120-yard games with a touchdown. They're far and few between. So you just have to be prepared for like the week before against Detroit. Made the biggest catch in the game late, but it was 1 catch for 13 yards or 2 catches for you can't consistently put him in your lineup every week as a fan.
But it is encouraging if anything were to happen to the 1 and 2 that
yeah. If something were to happen to Addison or something like that, but even when Addison was out earlier this year, I don't think they used him much. But then again,
but after a game like this, he gets a little attention. So I'm not spending a lot of fab money this late in the season on him. But if I'm doing a waiver priority bid, if you need some depth, he's okay. On the other side, I watched a clip last night, actually, Trevor, somebody on Reels or something, put together like the what I like to call the unhighlight reel of Derrick Henry this year. Is he finally hit that wall? I mean, he had 75 yards, but it took him 20 carries to do it. he hasn't had that big game. Is he just kind of a grinder now? Are the days of 70-yard rips over for Henry?
No, they're not over. No, it's a game's matchup based. Minnesota's run defense is a lot better now that they've got all their guys back. So you can look at the way they played run defense early in the season. They were getting run over at times. That's not going to happen to them no more unless they get banged up again. So, and then Miami's been playing the run a lot better too. So that they played Miami the week before. He's not going to run over the the bad matchups, but the good matchups he should be able to. Now I've got to look at the schedule. Do they play Cincinnati again, don't they?
No, I'm sure.
So if they play Cincinnati again, he's going to have those.
They got the Browns, they got the Jets who you can run on, the Bengals who you can run on, the Steelers that sometimes you can run on. They got the Bengals again. So yeah, they got Bengals.
The next game's coming.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. I think that we talked about it last week. We told people that if you're looking for a handcuff, it's Keaton Mitchell. He only got 4 touches, but it's clear that he's the guy to have behind Henry if you're looking. I don't really have a whole lot to say there. They did try to throw the ball to your likely again for 2 weeks in a row, but it just didn't work out.
Right. Yeah, they throw the ball to him, so he's going to be a DFS guy for me in some lineups every week just because his price is so low. But yeah, it was just one of those games where Minnesota's defense, they played really well in the first half, and then they just wore down. They were on the field a lot, and they just kind of overpowered them. It wasn't like big plays, but they just moved the ball consistently down the field, and they use a host of guys to do it. Flowers had some good plays. Andrews had some good plays. Some other guys, Keaton had to play. Picard, I think, had to play. So it was just one of those games. Minnesota's offense let the team down again, and that's just – they're going to bounce back this week against the Bears, though.
Sure. Yeah, it's tough with Lamar because he can buy himself so much time with his legs and his mobility that he just chucks it to whoever is open. So every week it could be somebody totally different.
Yeah.
Let's move on over to the Patriots and the Bucks. The Patriots moved to 8-2. Man, I know Drake May didn't have to do everything because Henderson did a whole lot. But Drake May looks good. He looks like the future there. I like him an absolute ton.
Man, I wish he was in purple, but yeah, he's really good. He can do it all. His vision is really good. They were showing it yesterday how he's looking people off of defense. He's got a great deep ball. He throws that ball really good. And here's the difference. I was just telling you about McCarthy, how when you watch the Vikings play, you don't see any receivers going through the screen. Watch how well New England's coached. They've got guys, they've got guys at all levels of the field. So when there's nothing deep, he's got an underlying guy right there, and he hits them. So for 4 or 5 yards or something. There's guys open there. And they ain't got better weapons. The Vikings have better weapons than the Patriots. Just imagine if the Patriots had a weapons like the Vikings have. This guy's got a tremendous ceiling. He's just great. And
we had a 10-target Mac Hollins game for him.
He's making Hollins that's 2 out of the last 3 weeks. Hollins has had significant fantasy points.
Speaking of significant fantasy points, we got 1 catch for 72 yards and a touchdown out of the electric rookie Kyle Williams. I have him on all 3 of my dynasty leagues because Doc told me how good he's going to be in a couple years.
Yeah, and what happened was that the defender that was supposed to cover him went out for a play and they attacked him immediately. The new guy that came in, and it was like, because I know Willie on Friday Night Lights was really bragging this guy up, and I'm like, oh, Willie's going to have a really big game. But then when you look at it, that was a great play. It got you. What did it get you? 14.2 points there, right? Because you could. Yep. So that at his price point at 3,000, you might have won some tournaments with that. But I think you needed a different type of lineup to win the big money. But
right. No, that was good. Yeah. And then Stephon Diggs got done what you needed him to in seasonal. Just enough to get it done. But Trevion Henderson, after weeks and weeks and weeks of Justin on our DFS show Saturday night saying that Henderson was going to do it, he finally did it.
Yeah, and you wouldn't think it would be against Tampa because Tampa's got one of the best run defenses. You expect it to be him catching the ball, but their better against the run when you're running up the middle. Now, these 2 run plays that Henderson had brought it out wide. So, he wasn't what were they, those 2 runs in the fourth quarter, or were they in the early third quarter and late fourth quarter? So 2 runs.
69-yard touchdown does big numbers for your fantasy.
Yeah. Yeah, 2 big runs. I mean, other than that, he had 10 runs for 22 yards, but you pop them like that, that's all you need. The one thing I will caution about Trevor Henderson going forward is when they had the ball inside the 10, he's not on the field. They had some other guy. They didn't even have Jennings. They had, I forget his name. They had another guy out there.
Dearness Johnson, the guy that won't go away.
Oh, that was who that was. Yep. So he was out on the field near the goal line, and they pull out Henderson. I don't know what they're doing there. Rabel's a hell of a coach, so whatever he's doing is what he's, he's a good coach. You can see that. And then another thing about New England, why they're so good, they don't make a lot of penalties. Mm-hmm. You look at their penalties; they have 3 to 5 penalties a game, sometimes 6. Minnesota, I'm going to refer back to my jalopies. 10, 12, 13 penalties a game. I mean, they got to be near the top. But New England doesn't make a lot of penalties. Their quarterback is really good. And now if they can get Henderson to be consistent, they're going to be a team to watch out for.
Are you putting in waiver wire picks on Mac Hollins if he wasn't already picked up?
I think you got to at this point. I mean, 2 out of the last 3 weeks, he's had good games. He hit 100 yards this week. And I think the week before, I think he didn't have as great. I think Pop Douglas had the good game. And then the week before, I think he had almost 100 yards with a touchdown.
He did. So that one was with Butte in the lineup, and Butte's out right now. So,
so I think you got to put in a waiver wire for Matt Hollins. And I'm sure he's still out there because, I mean, I don't think anybody thinks it's going to continue. But the way May's playing, he spreads that ball around. So, and it's not like they have that dominant guy that you can look to.
All right, let's get to the other side of the ball. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I actually thought that this was going to be a decent matchup for White. It ended up being Sean Tucker. Any interest in Sean Tucker, or was it just White was ineffective, and so they tried something else? But they basically split the touches.
Is Bucky Irving coming back finally this week?
Maybe.
What's going? If he's back, I have no interest in Sean Tucker.
Actually, I think I saw they already ruled him out for Week 11.
Oh well, geez. Then yeah, I do like Tucker because I think it's a good matchup running the football against the Bills, isn't it? Against the Bills.
Yeah, let me go take that out. But I was
trying to run the ball against the Bills, but we don't know how much they're going to keep White out there for, But Tucker might get more carries because you want to run it inside against.
Let me look at Bucky. I thought he was the one I just saw. They already said they released yesterday. Bucky Irving not expected to play Week 11,
and he was never placed on IR, correct?
No, nope. That's he just shocking. Keeps getting ruled out every week. Apparently, it's a shoulder pain issue, and they just keep saying until he can take a hit on his shoulder, he's out. His legs are fine. It's his shoulder.
Well, that's good news. You'd rather have a shoulder injury for running back than leg injury, obviously. So that's.
Yeah, he had a foot injury. That's what originally got him out, but the shoulder's been nagging, and apparently that's it, is that he can't take a hit on the shoulder.
So, yeah, Tucker seems like a play. I mean, I don't know what you're going to – you got to be – I'm desperate enough in one league where I might need them because I've been starting Isaiah Davis. So I might have to try to find Tucker.
Well, on Sleeper app, the last 2 weeks, they've had Tucker projected like 10 points each week. So I'm sure that artificially made him get picked up before the week. But he did. I mean, he ran nine rushes for 53 yards. He caught a couple of balls for negative yards. But, hey, he's involved. He ripped a couple of 100-yard games last year when he was up due to injuries.
And if they get the ball at the 1 or 2 yard line, he's going to probably get the ball instead of White.
Yep. Egbuka looks great. Doc was saying you got to play Cade Otton all Sunday morning on our show. Every single tight end that came up, it was Cade Otton, who was available on waivers, and he caught 9 for 82. So that's pretty good for a 1 week fill-in waiver guy.
And they're going to keep using them too because I don't expect a whole lot of relief coming back for wide receiver. I don't think you're going to see Godwin back. Plus, they had mentioned that because their offensive line is getting healthier, he's not been needed to block as much. So he's able to go out and pass routes, and they need him. He could have really done really well had he found a way to get in the end zone, but that's a really good stat line. You get most years, you get 17 points from your tight end and you're jumping for joy. I mean,
yeah, that's an average score this year, Trev.
Yeah, that's just.
I can't tell you how many of my leagues I have tight ends in my flexes right now because they've just been performing. Tez Johnson got it done with 2 touchdowns. I mean, his stat line wasn't super impressive outside of 2 scores, but 2 scores will get you there any day.
Yeah. Yep. He was really good.
Shepard, I think Shepard's just juiced. I think he's just done. He's had opportunities all year and not done anything with it. So I think, if Cade Otton's out there and you need him in a flex spot, you can put him there. And, Tucker, I think, is a safe bet as long as Bucky's out, because it looks like maybe White's not getting the job done for him, but you never know. Sometimes you have these games where the starting running back, for no reason they put the backup in all game, and you think, okay, it's Tucker's turn, and then you come back the next game and White gets 20 carries.
But when we're talking about Shepard, I never understood the love for Shepard anyway. I mean, last year he was put in some situations when Godwin went out, and what do you have? 1 good game out of 5. Yeah. So I've never.
What happens, Trevor, is guys like me who play DFS, put him in that lineup. He won me some money, and now he's got this like favorable aura in my head.
Kind of like Dalton Schultz, who I still haven't gotten that jersey yet. Supposed to be here now Wednesday. I mean.
Well, you know what, Trevor? Instead, let's talk about Dalton Schultz. How about those Houston Texans putting up 36 on the Jaguars? Schultz got it done, 7 catches, 53 yards, and a touchdown. Nico Collins had a Nico Collins game. That was awesome. We got Jaden Higgins involved in the end zone. We had Noel get involved. Davis Mills slung it all over the field, bud.
Davis Mills was in my DFS article.
I mean, he had like a 52% completion rate, but he was chucking it everywhere.
Well, he had to. Well, they've got behind earlier. He started off the game with here's what happened. They had threw an interception right away. Then they fumbled the kick. And then the punt return. So they were down 16-0 right away just on those turnovers. So it was good for a quarterback because he had to throw. And what did Nico Collins end up with? 136 yards?
Yep, 7 catches, a couple big ones.
Like 50 some of them yards were on a Hail Mary to end the first half.
Yep, that was awesome. I saw the highlight from that this morning. That was awesome. I really like this team. Not this year. Obviously, they have some issues. They need to fix their running back room. They need to fix their defense in a few spots. Stingley's great, but they got no help for him. But you got Nico Collins, who is absolutely awesome. You got Higgins and Noel showing some really nice additions as rookies. This team's going to be dangerous next year as long as, CJ Stroud or whoever is in there can play good quarterback.
They might be dangerous this week against Tennessee.
No, anyone against Tennessee every week. You know my theory.
So. I'm hoping, Marks had a great game against Tennessee and the first time around. I'm hoping that this is again another coaching issue. I mean, he should be getting 80% of the volume and Nick Chubb 20, but they just. This week it was more Woody Marks for sure. Marks has way more juice than Chubb. So I'm hoping Marks bounces back this week and has a really good game. I mean, he had a touchdown last week. So maybe they're going to go to him. But I almost like Davis Mills a little bit better sometimes than Stroud. And the only reason is the mobility a little bit. He seems to avoid the pressure a little bit more than Stroud steps up. But with Mills, though, I think you're going to see more turnovers.
I mean, I could be wrong. It's just my impression. Trev, you watch more of these games than I do, but it always seemed like Stroud holds the ball too long.
Yeah, he does. He does hold the ball a little bit longer. I don't know why that is, but
any interest in Higgins and Noel if you need the help, or is this just kind of a product of needing to throw the ball 45 times?
They might be a product of needing to throw the ball 45 times. I don't know if they're going to need to throw it this week against Tennessee. If you're desperate, like always, you can pick one of those guys up.
I think I prefer Higgins. He plays more of the outside role.
Well, we tell you to pick those guys up, and then this will be the week Hutchinson finds a way.
Right, or Christian Kirk comes back.
Yeah. So for me, it's really just going to be Nico and Marks and Schultz. But I don't.
One of those other guys. I don't know if you watched the game, but how did Jacoby Myers look with his first game with the Jaguars?
I did watch the game, and he looked okay. Trevor Lawrence doesn't look very good at all. He's
bad.
He's bad at football. I'm done with the guy.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to bounce back this year because I expected big things from Thomas. But Myers, I did like some of the targets. If the ball's thrown better, he's gone for a 60-some yard touchdown, and it was not thrown well at all. So he did catch it, but he had to he had to get out of bounds on the catch. So I do think Myers has some juice going forward.
Parker Washington gets in the end zone again.
If Thomas is out, Myers is going to be the number one focus.
Yeah. Parker Washington gets in the end zone again, 3 for 33 and a touchdown. His price has gone up a little bit in DFS, so he's not quite the value that he was a couple weeks ago. But right. he looks pretty good. They threw him the ball 7 times. I'm going to imagine this just because Lawrence is terribly inaccurate that he only caught 3 of them. But they were so desperate for wide receivers, Trevor, that they traded for Myers and they dug deep. They called Detroit and asked for the contract of Alan Trammell to come out of retirement. And he ended up catching 2 balls for 33. I kid. It's Austin Trammell. I don't even know who that is.
Austin Trammell?
Yeah.
Me neither, until I saw him play the other day. It was like, who's this guy? So, yeah, Lawrence is extremely inaccurate. They need to move on from him if they want to get playoff ready, in years to come, because he's just not good.
Yeah, what I'd like to see is I wish they would have traded Etienne, honestly, and let Tootin in there. I like what I see out of him. And if you're in leagues with return yards, he's turning into a heck of a punt returner.
Yeah, definitely.
But none of these guys are going to be available on waiver wires if you need them. Parker Washington got scooped up. Tootin's been on everybody's bench all year long. So we shall move on. Let's go to the Cleveland Browns and the Jets. Who knew that the Jets were going to be the slate breaker defense you needed in DFS?
That's not that shocking because the Browns offense sucks, and I had them in a few DFS lineups.
Well, it's shocking because they traded their 2 best defensive players. So.
Well, that's true too. Yeah, but it was a punt return and a kick return that really set it right there. Kick return and a punt return right in the first quarter. It was a really frustrating game. Now Garrett Wilson got hurt. He's going to miss some time. He's basically done for your fantasy teams. They said a minimum of 3 to 4 weeks, which takes him to week 14, which is the beginning of the playoffs. I mean, if you need a roster spot because you're not going to, be guaranteed to make the playoffs, you can try to trade him for a ham sandwich or just drop him if you need to, because he's not going to get you there. Right. And, it's just Breece Hall or nothing. Justin Fields stinks. I mean, what did he have? 11 passes, 12 I don't know what. It was just.
Look, if I'm Garrett Wilson, Trevor, I sit the rest of the year. I just say, it hurts. It hurts.
So I rewatch all the games. So I was watching the game and it was about school was over and the kid was over and he wanted the TV. And I was trying to watch 2-3 games at a time to get it over with so I can watch them all in quick time. So
I'm sorry you had to watch Justin Fields complete 6 passes for 54 yards in an entire game.
I had to go back to the game a few times, and then it almost put me to sleep at times. Sometimes watching these guys, like, oh, geez, I have to watch this garbage. So that was pretty bad.
But if you put Breece Hall and Trevion Henderson in your lineup, like Justin wanted us to do the week before, you had a good week.
Oh yeah, you sure did. Breece Hall, come on a really big play there. That what really set him over the top on him. But that's about all you got. You even the tight end who I really like over there was. What's his name? Jordan Mason?
Yeah. Or Mason Taylor. Sorry.
Mason Taylor. Jordan Mason plays for my team.
Yeah.
But anyway, I can't even play him with Fields in there. Really, I can't.
No, you got to play nothing. Just abandon all Jets. But that's a normal weekly thing, so that's okay. Let's talk about the other side. Taylor Gabriel actually didn't look trash. I mean, he wasn't great. He threw 2 touchdowns. Judkins really did a good job of controlling the clock for them. They didn't win because of 2 special teams touchdowns, but Judy got involved. 6 for 78 and a touchdown. He was like $3,900, $4,100 in DFS, something like that.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he did really good. And I will argue that Dylan Gabriel looked like trash. He did get the 2 touchdown passes, but the other throws he made. I don't know how many he threw into the ground. It was just terrible. I mean, if they had a confident quarterback, they win by a lot more. I knew it was going to be bad for Judkins right off the bat he was my favorite DFS play. I've kind of been snake bitten. The first game was like an 18-yard run call back for holding. So then they were in first and 20. Right? First and 20 right off the bat. And it's like,
yeah. Well, so we had a guy come out and praise us on Discord for helping him Saturday night win $2,500. And then right after I said, that's amazing, great job, he went, the next text below that, he said, yeah, whatever Trevor says the lock of the week is, I'm keeping out of my lineup for further notice.
Yeah, well, he better play it this week because I already know what it's going to be. We'll get to that later, but I don't think the guy that I'm going to pick this week is going to fail, but you never know. He could, but
at what point did they let Sanders get out there? I mean, they're 2-7. Gabriel sucks.
Stefanski does not want to go to him. I don't know if people remember Stefanski used to be the offensive coordinator for the Vikings. We hated his guts when he was here, and we were absolutely shocked that any organization would want him to be a head coach. And of course, it would be the Cleveland Browns. So they have single-handedly destroyed that organization. Well, the organization hasn't been very good anyway, and they got rid of Baker Mayfield, which was stupid. So they've just been a bad organization, and Stefanski's not a very good coach. And that's about it. And the other thing that killed Judkins is you watch what happened in that game. The Jets had 9 blocks because they don't fear the pass. So that's why they gave up a few passing plays. But there's nobody from Cleveland I'm going to play. They're playing the Bengals this week, I believe, and they're going to get destroyed.
Man,
they're playing the Ravens.
So is Myles Garrett regretting the contract he signed, or is he just sleeping on a bed of money every night and not caring?
Well, you're sleeping on a bed of money. I mean, that can't be bad, but I think if he wants to, he'd probably want to be traded. But, you know, what they'd ask for, they would ask for your arms and legs for a trade for him. So he's almost –
Didn't he almost get traded and then he signed some giant extension anyways?
Maybe. Something like that.
Yeah, poor guy. Poor guy. All right, where shall we go here? Where did we leave off? We left off there. Let's go to the game that ruined my parlay, sir. The Carolina Panthers not being able to, score on a absolute awful Saints team. I had Carolina minus 5.5. I thought that was the lock of the week in my bets. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, weird game. Fumbles, interceptions, bad time fumbles, interceptions in Saints territory. I think they turned it over 3 times on that side of the field. Dowdle, I think, ended up with 14 fantasy points. What if I told you he had like 10 on the first drive or second?
Man, I was excited because he was in all 3 of my big DFS lineups, and he ripped a touchdown right on that first drive, and I'm like, yes, here we go. And that was the end of their offense for the day.
Well, and that drive even was, they scored on that drive that was abated by a roughing the passer call and an offsides call. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, they would have been punting. So they just weren't moving the football very good.
On the other side of the ball over there, bud, we saw Kamara get 100 yards all-purpose, which is rare for him this year. We saw Chris Olave with another, basically double-digit targets like he has every game of the year. He got in the end zone with 100 yards. Juwan Johnson, who was my favorite tight end play of the week, I urged everyone to play him. 4 for 92 and a touchdown. Tyler Show actually looked like a competent quarterback for this game.
At times, he looked okay. He got a little bit of mobility doing that trade of some of these plays. Now, did you watch the Olave touchdown?
I saw the replay.
J.C. Horn's running right with him and falls down. I don't know if Olave gave him a little push there and he fell down, but he fell down. That was kind of fluky. So, but it was, hey, you take them. And the Juwan Johnson had 2 really nice big plays because of the quarterback's legs there, kind of moved out of the pocket, avoided a rush, and found him open down the field. So there's some hope there. The Saints defense has been playing a little bit better too. I mean, who did they play the week before? Were they okay the week before? I think they're kind of a weird defense. Sometimes they play you tough, sometimes they get flattened, but
they got beat pretty bad. The Rams, the Bucks whooped them, the Bears whooped them.
Well, I would say that when they played the Bucks, their defense played pretty decently. It's just the offense left them high and dry, and there was like a pick 6 in that game.
Yeah, and 3 point scoring isn't going to get you very far.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know about these Saints. I mean, you look at teams and you think they've got some young talent and they're going to rebuild in a couple years. But this team, I mean, Juwan Johnson's old. Olave is going to want out of there. He's not going to sign another extension. They have no quarterback. Kamara's aged out. This team needs to do a complete and utter rebuild. I'm shocked that they didn't try to move literally everyone at the trade deadline.
Yeah, and maybe they did. They just want too much. I don't know. I mean, you think you could get a nice piece for Olave. Olave's still pretty young.
He is.
But you, by the time you're good, he's going to be too old or gone. I mean, by the time
they got rid of Shaheed, and I thought, here it comes. They're going to get rid of Shaheed. They're going to send Kamara to like the Chiefs, right, on a 1-year contract to run for them. They're going to get Juwan. Well, tight ends, nobody needs them. So Juwan Johnson probably got screwed out of one last run somewhere because nobody needs a tight end right now. But
right,
yeah. These teams suck. Come on. I mean, the Panthers, if they're not handing the ball off 30 times, the Panthers suck too.
Hey, they beat Green Bay the week before, so I like them.
Fair enough. All right, let's talk about my 49ers being embarrassed. The score looks closer than it was. It was 42-26, but that game should have been 60-7. I mean, they were terrible. I told you a few weeks ago they were a fraudulent, 4-1 team, and they're a fraudulent 5-3 team, and they're a fraudulent 6-4 team. Not because they don't have talent. Every single person on that team is freaking injured. All of them.
Yeah, but I was just listening. Pearsall might practice this week. We might finally see Ricky Pearsall, which would be a big boost to the offense.
Purdy's probably coming back,
but.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. He was supposed to, Burrow. I hear he has the same injury that Joe Burrow had, and Burrow decided to have the surgery and get better, and Purdy decided not to. So you see that.
I don't want Purdy back. I think Mac Jones is better in this offense. I'm not going to lie. I like Purdy. I think Purdy's good, but I like Mac Jones.
I haven't seen Purdy in a while to compare the two. I think they're both pretty reciprocal.
Mm-hmm. Mac Jones makes faster decisions, and they aren't super fast. Mac also holds the ball too long, but Purdy really holds the ball too long.
That's probably true. I think Purdy might be more consistently accurate, though, but that doesn't mean you're always better, because sometimes it's the throw. Because if you we'll go back to McCarthy. If you watch J.J. McCarthy throw, sometimes it takes forever for him to wind that ball and throw. It's not quick release. So if you're saying Mac Jones with a quicker release than Purdy, I'm going to take your word for it. I just haven't seen Purdy throw in a while to remember it. But
sure. I didn't say quicker release. I said he makes quicker decisions. Purdy seems
to me that's same difference.
Yeah, Purdy just seems to go, okay, 1, maybe 2, I don't know, 3. Should I dump it off?
Yeah, well, if he's finding out how to get rid of that ball quicker and however, I'll take your word for it. But with Pearsall coming back, that just adds another piece. The thing about the Niners, their offense is going to be good. It was a Kittle week again. Finally, he had his breakout. I figured he was going to, because the Rams took a big lead, so they had to
Jennings finally actually lived up to the Sims who keep telling us to play him.
Oh yeah, well Jennings is at touchdowns now in back-to-back weeks, so he's picking it up a little bit.
Brian Robinson Jr. almost outscored McCaffrey in fantasy, almost.
Yeah, they use him a little bit more than I like, but I didn't play much McCaffrey in DFS, and I don't have him in seasonal, so I was kind of glad to see him tame down a little bit. And when you're playing the Rams, you're going to give up a lot of points, so it was just a good game.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see Pearsall back. I think that helps them a lot. Mac Jones, Purdy, they're like you said, they're the same quarterback. It doesn't matter. Either one's going to score you 20, 22 points. Nothing spectacular, but solid. On the other side of the ball, I mean, I had a lot of Devontae Adams, and, he almost got that second touchdown. That would have been huge. He outscored Puka on the week. That's what I needed. I took a stand that, saving, what was it, like $2,700 savings to go down to Adams would get you the same play, and it did. Williams just has a history of crushing my Niners, even in losses. So, I was heavy on him. What I didn't have was Matt Stafford getting his 4 straight weeks of 4 touchdown passes.
Yeah, he's just been great. I picked him up in a league like 2 or 3 weeks ago and just had to start him because of a bye week. Well, he's not left my starting roster. I've been playing him over Daniel Jones.
Yep.
So, yeah. So I've been very impressed with Stafford. He just keeps doing it. Well, he's got great weapons there. I mean, he's got a Kyron Williams. He's got Puka and Adams, and even they got contributions from other players this week.
How about 14 targets to 4 different tight ends in that game?
Yeah, so I mean, he's just a good player. I mean, he's always when his back isn't acting up, he's a top 5 quarterback. Maybe not for fantasy. Well, he has been lately, but he's just a top 5 NFL type of quarterback because his brain's there. He throws the ball all around. I wish Minnesota would have found a way to get him, but they didn't. So, yeah, and his defense plays pretty good most of the time. Now they gave up a bunch of points to the Niners. They were up 21-0, and anytime San Francisco got within a touchdown, they just went down the field and just slapped them around. They were like a cat playing with the mouse,
I think the Rams have come up with an absolute just killer situation for themselves with Puka back. They're running these 2, sometimes 3 tight end heavy sets, and just trusting that Puka or Adams can get one-on-one coverage. And it's working for them because they've got a killer running back, and you set them up with 2 tight ends. There's going to be holes for him to run in, and you've got 2 of the best wide receivers in the game that can win one-on-one. They're really dangerous, man. They're a really dangerous team.
They are like 2 plays from being undefeated. That Philly game they had in hand, and then they gave up a big long kick or a punt block for a touchdown or something like that, or a field goal block. They were going in for the game-winning field goal, and they got blocked for a touchdown. And then against the 49ers, the first time they played them at home, they lost. I think Kyron fumbled late in the game. Then they had a 4th and 1, and they got stuffed. So they were just a couple of plays from being undefeated. To me, they looked like the best team in the NFC. Yeah, Seattle might have something to say about that too. But
they look good.
In that way.
They certainly look good. All right, we are way behind schedule today, Trevor. We are chatty Cathy's. We're almost an hour in, and we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more games to go.
Holy smoke! We better pick it up.
We're just having a good time this morning. You caught me in a good day. Let's go to the Giants and the Bears. This game looked really good for the Giants till Dart got hurt, and then Wilson had to come in. Tracy had a decent game. Dart ran 2 in himself. It didn't matter who he was throwing the ball to. I mean, they looked good until Dart got hurt, and that hurt him.
Yeah, Dart finishes the game. I don't think the Giants lose. Russell Wilson had to come in. He wouldn't look so bad, but they didn't have that extra push near the goal line when they got down there and they had to settle for a field goal. But Dart, man, he makes the decisions. But we did say this last week on Rise and Grind. I was going to say First Look, but we were worried I was worried he was going to get hurt because he takes a lot of hits, and sure enough, he got, what did they call it, a concussion.
Yeah. He probably missed one game.
If he misses this week, I mean, Green Bay's defense to the hilt in your lineups, because Russell Wilson will be starting for the Giants against the Packers, and I don't like that one bit. So
yeah, well, I had my tipsy pick of the week was Tyrone Tracy, and sadly Dart got both running touchdowns, but he did look pretty good. Of course, the Bears defense sucks. We saw Swift come back. He had 80. We had Monangai vulture a touchdown, so he saved people that are relying on him in seasonal. I said, and Doc's favorite thing, right, is take the guy that got a 0 last week, and Rome Odunze came out with 6 for 86 and a touchdown.
Yeah,
he did you well. Loveland looks like he's pretty much taken over for Kmet, so I think we can be safe just starting Loveland over there. Any other thoughts on the Bears offense?
Yeah, I'm predicting some struggles coming. We look at their record. They have 6 wins. Their combined wins from the opponents they played are 15-41-1. I mean, they're beating the Saints, the Raiders, the Giants, the Bengals. They're playing some really bad teams. They're going to start playing some better teams. So they're going to have to step it up somehow. If Minnesota doesn't beat them this week, I'll be shocked.
I mean, Luther Burden showed up a little bit. I like him in dynasty formats. I'm not interested really in seasonal yet for him. OZ went back to doing nothing, so don't worry about him. I just kind of want Swift to go back to being injured, because I have Monangai in 3 leagues and he looks better.
Well, you think Monangai looks better than Swift?
I do.
I do not. I think Swift looks way better than Monangai.
I think Monangai just needs time. He's just a rookie. He just needs some time.
Yeah, but I just think Swift has more juice. And Zacchaeus, he dropped an easy touchdown that was right in his hands.
Yeah.
What a bad.
Gotta hate drops. All right, we got to keep moving, though. Let's go to the Buffalo Bills getting steamrolled single-handedly by Devon Achane. Absolutely wrecked him. 174 yards, 2 touchdowns. He added 51 in the air. I mean, but if you had Taylor and Achane in seasonal, which you could have gotten on the end of first round and the beginning of second round, man, you put up a lot of points this week.
Oh yeah, it was just an A-chain game, and even I poo-pooed Waddle, and they hit Waddle in the deep one for a touchdown, so that was basically all they needed. And then they got the turnovers. Cook turned it over. Allen fumbled. Cook fumbled. I think Allen threw an interception too. So it was kind of a wonky day that way.
I mean, this is how you beat the Bills. You run the ball. And my buddy's a big Bills fan, and he was complaining, we beat the Chiefs the week before and get crushed by the Dolphins. So, well, the Chiefs can't run the ball. Like the Chiefs can't run the ball, and that's how you beat the Bills. Right. You just run it. And they gave Achane 22 carries.
The Buffalo Bills. My grandpa was offered a contract to play for Buffalo back in the 1920s.
Yeah.
Play halfback, but he turned it down. But anywho, the thing about Buffalo is they're going to be inconsistent, especially if they're not running the ball well. Miami's run defense has been a lot better lately. After being run over by a few teams, they've really picked it up. The thing about Buffalo is they don't have them consistent weapons downfield. So if Allen can't get out and run, I mean, those receivers are just a bunch of nobodies. I mean, Shakir's okay, but Coleman – these other guys. There was another guy that I can't remember his name that caught a pass for the Bills.
Well, they had 11 guys catch the ball, Trevor. 11. Yeah. You talking about Shavers? Are you talking about Howes?
Howes and Shavers. Yeah, Shavers 14. I was like, who the hell is this guy?
Yeah. Nope. They needed that playmaker. Can you imagine if they would have pulled off that Waddle trade we were talking about Sunday morning?
Oh yeah, exactly. And they would have. I'm surprised Miami didn't take it, but
Well, we talked about that. They offered him a first and a third, and Miami came back and said, I want 2 firsts, and they said no. First and a third probably gets it done for several other teams, but not to hand it over to the division rivals.
I think the big mistake that the Bills made they made a trade last year. They swapped picks with Kansas City, and Kansas City ended up taking Worthy, and they got Coleman. I think they'd rather have Worthy, especially after Worthy hurt them bad in the AFC Championship game last year too.
Yeah.
So
it's funny to see how those things come back to bite you. All right, we got to keep moving. We'll go to Arizona and Seattle. Seattle's defense is just absolutely dominant, especially at home. This game went pretty much exactly how I thought it would, except for Seattle scored a little bit more than I thought they would. But Cooper Kupp caught one big one. Otherwise, he's been mostly irrelevant except for about 2 weeks this year. It's JSN, and it is Charbonnet and Walker splitting the ball and their defense.
Yep, defense scored 2 touchdowns right away in that game. It was 28-zip, which was really nice because if you had a lot of Arizona players, it was great because Arizona just threw the ball, and McBride, and Harrison got a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. So it was really great.
One of us said Brissett was going to have to throw the ball 45 times, Trevor. You know how many he threw it?
Probably 45 times.
44 times.
So there you have it. And McBride, you had mentioned you thought Warren had been the most consistent tight end, and that's probably true. But with Brissett, I think McBride is obviously the best tight end now that Brissett is there. With Murray, no. And I don't think you'll see Murray play in Arizona ever again.
Yeah, he could be done. I mean, they said he's going to miss 4 weeks.
They want him out.
I think that you are correct. DeMarcado led the field in rushing, but it wasn't great. It was 4 rushes for 64 yards. Knight got the ball 10 times. Michael Wilson had a small showing here. There was really nothing of note.
Yeah, no, not really. No,
on that side. Same thing over at Seattle. I mean, Shaheed's going to take a few more weeks to really pick up that offense, but they just don't need him when their defense is playing that well. And Smith and Jigma catches everything you throw to him.
What was it? 28-0 and 35. They didn't really need any of that. And what Shaheed's going to do is he's going to stretch the field, so JSN is going to be dominant still. There's no way around it. So the one thing is they don't run the ball very well. Seattle.
Well, let's move on to the Lions and the Commanders. There was a lot to say after the Minnesota game about how poorly offensive coordinator was calling the plays. I actually thought they might fire him in between the games, but they did maybe worse, and they said, "Go sit down. I got this." And Campbell took over the play calling. If you played Gibbs and you played Henderson and you played Roma Dunza, the guys that screwed us the week before in DFS, you had a very good week. Because they were very good. But Campbell still gave 15 runs to Monty, 15 runs to Gibbs.
Yeah, they're making a big deal about this in Detroit. Oh, Campbell took over the coach. I could coach the offense against the Commanders. They're terrible. They're banged up. They're brutal. Anybody could call offense with Detroit. I mean, you got Gibbs, you got St. Brown, you had Jameis. I mean, they're just way more skilled than the Washington defense. So I'm not worried about Dan Campbell taking over. I mean, maybe it'll help, but he's going to call plays on 4th and 4 and turn the ball over. So,
absolutely nothing to really talk about in this game. The guys that scored. Jamison Williams was open all game long, so he had a big one. On the other side, I mean, if you have Debo, if you're still plugging Debo into your seasonal lineups, he got you that touchdown, so he kind of saved the day for you on that. But other than that, there's really nothing of note for the Commanders. They just suck. So let's go to the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Chargers. Chargers, man, I think the Chargers and the Broncos both have a chance to make a deep playoff run if they can keep it together. This is the most kind of wide open AFC I've seen in a while. Kansas City's been beat a couple of times in games that they should have won. Buffalo's been beat in games they should have won. The Chargers and the Broncos both are playing really good football. This is going to be a fun AFC run to end the year.
Yeah, I'm gonna enjoy watching that. Usually, growing up, you don't really watch a lot of the AFC West, but now with the new TV packages, I like watching their type of football now. They're exciting to watch, especially the Chargers. Chargers are going to have a really good matchup this week against the Jaguars, so fire it up.
I mean, Lad McConkey has come on fire since he had a really slow year to start. I mean, in the Dr. Roto staff league, Trevor, I got kind of crapped on because I took Lad McConkey and McBride. I took McBride first and Lad McConkey on the turn in a 14-teamer. But they've turned it on the last few weeks, so don't count me out, buddy.
Yeah, you've been coming back with that, and everybody wanted to jump off the Lad McConkey bandwagon early in the year. Everybody was panicking because the first 4 weeks weren't good. We tell you, right? You got to stick with the good guys, and Johnston, who was the hot guy early, he's just not been as relevant.
And Trevor, the two that Doc told me that I was an idiot for not taking was Bucky Irving and Chase Brown at that turn.
Well, I probably was on board with him.
Which, don't get me wrong, he was right. I was trying to do something, cute in a 14-teamer. But man, this team looks really good. Vidal looked really good. McConkey looked good. Between Johnson and Allen and Gadsden's really picking up as their rookie tight end. These guys are going to get Hampton back in 2 weeks.
We do have to worry a little bit about Gadsden. He haven't left that game with an injury. Looks like it's a quad bruise. Yeah. So I don't know if they're going to hold him out a week. If he holds out a week, if you got Tyler Warren or you got Gadsden, you might need to play or Kincaid as well. Kincaid got hurt too. It looks like he's going to be out. So you might be needing a tight end. Are they going to use Will Dissly or are they going to use
over there? Probably.
They're going to use Conklin. So Conklin might be a guy you want to pick up because he's going to be on the field and they're going to throw. I mean, Herbert's just going to throw the open guy. Yeah. But lately it's been Lad McConkey. It's against Jacksonville, so you got a good matchup there. Expect the Chargers to score 30 points this week.
I mean, look, when we lose Hampton, who had been having a really great rookie season, get a little worried. Vidal comes in. Ladd gets off to a super slow start. Quentin Johnson tears it up the first 4 games. This is I hate to say it because he's my least favorite coach in all of football, but they're very well coached.
Oh, well, yeah, he's a good coach.
Yeah, I hate to say it. He's just a jerk. I live in Michigan, and I'm a 49ers fan, and I've seen a lot of Harbaugh, and I just don't like him.
You know what? I'd rather have a jerk who knows how to coach football than a nice guy that everybody loves like we have in Minnesota, who sucks.
True story. On the other side of the ball, man, the Steelers just didn't put up a fight, man. They just they looked bad. Warren was fine. Metcalf's had a terrible game again. I mean, I just don't know what you're going to get out of these guys, you know?
Well, they're playing the Bengals this week. So Jalen Warren is going to be my favorite player of the week at DFS. So he'd probably break his ankle in the first 5 minutes. Right. But, Rodgers, you could just see the frustration. I mean, he was pissed. He threw the ball on what's 19 is number, Washington or whatever.
Yeah.
Not Washington. One of the guys right in his hands, comes out of his hands, intercepted. He had DK Metcalf open on a deep play.
Yeah, Cal Austin.
What's that?
Calvin Austin.
Yeah, that's his name. And then DK Metcalf was open a long ball, and it's like he didn't adjust to the ball. And you could just see Rodgers is just frustrated. Rodgers looks pretty decent. If I'm the Packers, I'd rather have him than Love right now.
You're right. Yeah.
But Rodgers is putting the ball on people. It's just they're dropping balls. I mean, that's been the big key. And then they go away from Warren too early. Warren was running the ball pretty well early. But that's the way it's going to be when you have a Rodgers run team. He's going to want to throw.
Well, part of the Rodgers deal, right, is that if he's not calling plays, he gets what he wants in audibles, and he always calls his own number. Always.
Right. And Jonnu Smith might be like if you're trying to replace one of those 3 tight ends I mentioned, Jonnu Smith might have a good week this week because they're playing the Bengals. Yeah. And they actually, the first meeting, the tight ends had huge games. I think all 3 tight ends were involved: Jonnu, Washington, and Freiermuth.
All right, let's round it up here. We're at a minute 6, so we actually sped up pretty nicely. I really wasn't expecting a defensive showcase last night, to be honest. I did play one, not a milli maker, a half milli maker lineup in the showdown. I played both defenses just because I thought I was being cute. And because I only put one in, and you can put 150 or whatever you can put in that one, I was being cute and thinking, I'll play both defenses. I'll play Josh, Jacobs, and I'll play for like kickers and defense. It almost worked. I needed a Smith not to catch that touchdown and Jacobs to run another one in, and I probably would have been your next rich friend.
Yeah, I liked Devonta Smith last night. It wasn't looking very good. It was just an ugly game. Both defenses played well. Jordan Love's not the answer. I mean, he's a decent quarterback, but if you watch the game, and I actually listen to Green Bay radio app. I like to listen to the fans call and complain. Mm-hmm. That's one of my enjoyments, listening to Packer fans call and complain. And
I'm going to start calling you Schadenfreude Trevor instead.
They're wanting their coaches fired, everybody fired. I mean, they really want LaFleur fired in Green Bay right now.
Of course.
I don't think he's a good coach either. He reminds me of my coach, KOC. But Love, he just misses open guys. And then when he does find the open guys, they're dropping it. They drop a lot of balls for him, but he's throwing to guys that are double covered, and you had Watson open over the middle of the field. You had Dobbs wide open, and then he's not throwing it right. So it's just, I do like Christian Watson this week. If you need a guy they're playing the Giants. Giants will give up big plays. I think Christian, if you're desperate for receiver, I like Christian Watson this week.
Yeah, I mean, you can play pretty much anyone against the Giants. They give up huge plays. So, if you need somebody desperately, you could do worse than finding like a Wicks or a Watson. Musgrove even could have a better game next week,
Yeah, I'm not a big – Musgrave looks a little slow. But then again, he's playing against Philly. Philly side, not much to say. I'm sure A.J. Brown is probably pissed off there because he didn't get a whole lot. He's probably boo-hooing behind the scenes, but better days are –
defensive game. I mean, he can boo-hoo all he wants. We remember the days of Randy Moss and these other big diva guys who complained, but they complained when they lost, right? I mean, Randy Moss would be like, we lost because you didn't throw me the ball. The problem I have with A.J. Brown bitching is he bitches after games that they won. It's like, give me the ball. Like, dude, you won.
He's not, I guess, team player, but fire them up. They're playing Detroit. It's going to be aerial assault.
I hope so. I think that'll be great. All right. Well, we got to get out of here, buddy. We actually timed it up pretty well after a nice chatty start. So I appreciate you, and make sure we're watching First Look with you and Doc tomorrow night. We've got what else we do? We do Friday Night Lights. We got Saturday night, the Any Given Entry, which is winning people money. And we got the Sunday morning Discord show with Doc. where he will answer every single one of your lineup questions if you are a member and in our Discord. Go over to drroto.com, get 10% off with promo code WIN. All right, buddy, we'll talk to you soon.
Yep.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. And until the next visit, be well and take care.